freak out. Freak out. It is I am him, Slim, with the tilted brim, chasing up New Age Revolution down here in the cave. How about that? We are back with another episode of AWA Remco's, taking a look at a very close second favorite figure line of mine, the AWA Remco's. We just did part 1, which was 1985, and now we're going to do part 2, which is also 1985. But before that, a couple of things that I wanted to mention. First, I want to say hello to a very good friend of the channel, Josh Bingham. I'm sure you've seen Josh in the comment section. He's a very nice guy. And he has, donated a couple of horror VHS tapes to my collection. And he is going through some health stuff right now. So I would like us all to send our warmest wishes, thoughts, and prayers to Josh Bingham. Very good friend of the channel. Very sweet guy. And I don't often call men sweet unless I've been drinking. But I think Josh probably qualifies as a pretty sweet guy. So best of luck to you. Thoughts and prayers, my friend. God bless you in your quest to get healthier. Okay? And hopefully this video brings you a little joy. Also, I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in last Sunday at 5 p.m. when Avi Klein and I went back to the 80s and started our show, started our little project. The show is viewable on Avi Klein's Facebook page. And of course, I'll put a little link down below. And it is also simulcast right here on your favorite YouTube channel. The only way to interact with the show, however, and ask us questions as we go along live is to watch from his channel, his Facebook page. I'm not looking at the YouTube channel while we're doing the broadcast. So he gets all the comments and the questions on his Facebook page, brings them right up on the screen, and we engage. And the show will be much more enjoyable with your guys' content. So again, tune in, come out, come support your favorite YouTuber's newest adventure, the Back to the 80s, I guess, podcast, but it's not really a podcast. I don't think it's available pod-wise yet, but we'll call it that. And Avi's a very busy guy. Go check him out, man. He's doing interviews with, he's doing shows with some of the biggest names in wrestling history right now. So go check him out and check us out this Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Avi Klein's Facebook page and the New 80s Revolution channel. AWA Remco's Part 2. We talked about Part 1, which was the Road Warriors and Rick Martel and Larry Zbyszko and Baron Von Raschke and Ric Flair. The High Flyers we talked about, Greg Gagna and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. I think I got them all. Oh, the fabulous ones, of course, Steve Kern and Stan Lane. But the next bunch of releases, still in the same year, brought us more names, more characters, more wrestlers to add to the roster, your AWA roster. AWA was doing 2-packs. That was their thing. They did not release single carded figures until the very end of the run, until their very last year of existence. Their initial burst of releases was all 2-packs, and as we will see in this video, they added 3-packs. How great. 3 wrestlers. I mean, I think that, again, brilliant marketing. Brilliant marketing, because your mom is going to buy you a package that has 3 wrestlers in it versus a package that has 1 wrestler in it. So I think a lot of kids probably got AWA figures for that reason when they wrote wrestling figures on their Christmas list. Because we're getting 3. Why would you want 1? We're getting 3. But first, we'll talk about the 2-packs that they released. We've got yet another Greg Gagna figure coming up here, with one of the worst gimmicks of all time, the most forgettable gimmick. I believe this had something to do with Sergeant Slaughter coming into the AWA in '85. Slaughter left the WWF because Vince McMahon did not want him to be G.I. Joe and Sergeant Slaughter in the WWF. He didn't want the worlds mixing. And the WWF had a toy deal with LJN. So why would they get involved with Hasbro? Because, Sergeant Slaughter was very involved with the Hasbro action figure line and the G.I. Joe cartoon. So off Slaughter went to the AWA, where his G.I. Joe character was embraced and even used, on TV. But around that time, Greg Gagna and Curt Henning were recruited into, Slaughter's army, and they became the Gagna Raiders. The very intimidating military toughness of Greg Gagna and babyface Curt Henning. The Gagna Raiders, complete with their, Rambo outfits. They did come with headbands too, and I don't have those. They came with camouflage headbands too. Very short-lived little run here. And this is right as Curt Henning's about to break out and become, the star that we know him as. This is maybe a year before Curt Henning started to show some heel flavor. He started to grow out the hair. He started to wear the singlet there, and he started to heal up a little bit. And then of course it was on from there. But we got Greg Gagna, the ultimate case of nepotism here. Greg Gagna pushed to the moon, and the Gagna Raiders. So just a good chance to get a Curt Henning figure. That's your whole point of the Gagna Raiders. And these guys underneath the camo are wearing black pants. So you get Curt Henning in this weird, black pants outfit. And some people, when they have them loose, they're, they don't think they have the right body on Curt Henning, because when did he ever wear black? I don't even think the Gagna Raiders wore this outfit. I don't remember them. They're very short-lived. But anyway, the next 2-pack that we get, I think, is, probably one of the most underrated teams. Never got a chance to excel. I personally think that this tag team would not have lasted long in the AWA. I think they would have been scooped up by Vince McMahon. I think they would have probably kept the same gimmick, and I think they would have been one of the main tag teams in the WWF, probably in '85, maybe in '86. But unfortunately, the Longriders, Scott Hogg Irwin and Wild Bill Irwin, did not have a chance to go any further. Due to the very untimely and sad death of Scott Hogg Irwin. He died of a brain tumor at a very young age. I'm sure in his late 20s. Scott Hogg Irwin passed away. Wild Bill Irwin went on to do some other things. He was in the NWA, / WCW for a little while. He was the Goon in a very short-lived, forgettable gimmick in a very forgettable period of time in the WWF. But he was the Goon. And in fact, we've seen the Goon reappear at some of these gimmick battle royals and Raw anniversary shows. The Goon comes back. But again, a very promising tag team, cut very short. Great outfits, the biker hat, the shades, the biker coats. I mean, AWA Remco's really brought the good stuff with the accessories. I love the clothing, and again, it makes you wonder, if the WWF hooked up with Remco, would the WWF figures have had cloth clothing as well? Would it have been the same line? Interesting stuff. We've seen, this is our first 3-pack of the night. We saw the Road Warriors Hawk and Animal in part 1. But now, with the 3-pack, we've added their manager, Precious Paul Ellering, which I think is great. I think that's a great idea. And people say, well, it's the only manager. What are you going to do? Well, Paul Ellering was a manager slash wrestler. He did have a wrestling career as well. Not overly successful, but he could easily be the Road Warriors tough guy manager. But you could also throw him in some 6-man tag team matches, and I did. I definitely had the Road Warriors team up with their manager, Paul Ellering. We've got Ellering with his ripped or rippable or breakaway Road Warriors t-shirt. Love it. And I think this is the best way to make clothing for wrestlers, because my kid has the AEW figures, and the Kenny Omega's coat robe thing is just hard plastic, and you got to bend the arms back to get it draped. It's horrible, but look at this. This is how we did it. We did it simple, because we weren't making pick feds. We weren't making stop motion figure feds online, so we didn't have to have the wrestlers look perfect. You just rip the shirt in the back and you take it off. It's simple. Great. That's the way it should be. When men were men. The last batch of figures here, we've got an interesting pick. These guys they are not known for their time in the AWA. They were a bit of a traveling act, but they were mainly stationed out of World Class Championship Wrestling. So I still don't know what the deal was with the Remco AWA figures, because not all of these figures spent any time in the AWA. When we get later on into Carlos Colon and Abdullah the Butcher was there for a very brief time, not when the figure came out, and Carlos Colon was never there. He might have done like a one-time spot show or something, but he wasn't there. And Pro Wrestling USA didn't exist by the time the Carlos Colon, Abdullah the Butcher 2-pack came out. So what was going on? But we got the Freebirds. We got the fabulous Freebirds. We got Terry Gordy. We got Michael P.S. Hayes. And we got the old man of the group, the uncle. Not Playboy, just Buddy Roberts. Freebird Buddy Roberts, Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, all with wonderful little outfits. Great little accessories. You got Buddy Roberts with his jacket, breakaway jacket, by the way, thank you very much. You've got Michael Hayes with his robe. You got Terry Gordy with his vest. And a great. So again, these AWA figures, you're getting 3 figures in one pack. And you don't have to just keep them together. I mean, Terry Gordy can certainly venture off on his own and be a dominating force in your federation. And Michael Hayes can do the same thing, Buddy Roberts. So this was a great idea by Remco to give you 3 figures. There's some different body types. I don't know if they're variants, but AWA did 2 body styles. They did the overly ripped, shredded body, which Terry Gordy never had, and they did what's known as the flabby body type. And Terry Gordy is one of the few figures that has two figures. So Terry Gordy comes in his flabby body, his ripped body, and also the flabby body variant. And as I start to, think about finishing the AWA Remcos, and there's a bunch of really expensive figures. I mean, $500, $600, $700, $800 figures that I don't have. I will get maybe some of the variants. So maybe I'll have the Terry Gordy flabby figure. But even those variants are expensive nowadays. At one point Terry Gordy was a $5 dump bin figure. And I haven't looked lately, but I assume, it's a $50, $60, $70 figure. Finally, we've got, so this is an example of the flabby body. We've got Steven Riegel, Precious, and Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin as a 3-pack with their valet here, Precious. who is actually Patty Garvin, who is actually Jimmy Garvin's real life wife, even today. How nice. How nice. They're still together. So we got Precious, we've got Jimmy Garvin, and this is an example of the flabby body, which really Jimmy Garvin shouldn't have had. Jimmy Garvin did not have a flabby body. He was in decent shape, because remember, this is the same body that the fat figures have. So this is the same body that Abdullah the Butcher has. Okay, kids of today would lose their minds. You know, some of these people on the Wrestling Figs forum, you know, get upset about the smallest, most ridiculous details. The collecting world would die if Jimmy Garvin was released today with Abdullah the Butcher's body, which is essentially what this is. They would lose their minds. But you know what, guys? It didn't matter back then. It didn't matter. We had other things to care about. So we got Jimmy Garvin flabby body. There's also a Jimmy Garvin ripped body, which I have. There's a second release of Jimmy Garvin. He got released twice. One with a red robe and then one with blue robe that we'll take a look at later. We got his tag team partner, Steven Riegel. Mr. Electricity, Steven Riegel. He was, back before, you know, cruiserweights were a thing, he was a light heavyweight, and he was advertised as a light heavyweight, and in fact he held the AWA light heavyweight title, and had some success as Jimmy Garvin's partner. And you know, this is it for Steve Riegel. Okay, Steve Riegel had a run in the AWA, and then he did some enhancement work for WWF, and then Steven Riegel went away. And I don't know where Steven Riegel is today. But he's got an action figure, and a good one, with this nice furry, you know, robe vest. And then we have the world's first female wrestling figure. That's it. Forget about Elizabeth. You know, forget about any. This is it. Precious is your first female wrestling figure. And this is really done in this is very similar to the Tila figure. The body, you know, the mechanics of the figure are reminiscent. They remind me of the Tila figure. She's missing her nose, and I don't know how that happened. And I just started noticing that, but she's missing her nose, and she's missing her hairspray can. Right? She would carry. I thought it was air freshener, but I think Jimmy Garvin used to spray his hair with it. I think. So she brought hairspray to the ring, and of course, you know, it would be used to blind many an opponent. But we've got the Patty Garvin has her own figure. So that's that. That is Series 2 of 1985. Also in 1985, which we will talk about next episode, are the rings and the ring playsets. And there's some good stuff coming, and there's some good information coming. There's stuff that I didn't know about, just found out about a couple of months ago, in regards to the Battle Royal playset. Something very interesting that I did not know. And it also proves to me that I never actually had the Battle Royal playset at any time, because I would have remembered this fact. And it's going to be interesting. We're going to take a look at the Steel Cage playset, which blew me away as a kid. We're going to talk about the very simple but very beautiful ring, just a plain AWA ring, and the beautiful artwork. I just love the AWA ring box. It's so great. It is frameable. And we'll look at those three playsets on the next episode. And that is that. So, again, AWA Remco Series 2, 1985. Tune in Sunday at 5 p.m. as Avi Klein and Jason Up with New Age Revolution go back to the 80s and take a close look at the movies, TV shows, toys, food, current events of 1981. And talk with you all about our memories. We're going to do more AWA shows. I want to show you off a brand new figure that I got, my second vintage figure in decades. What could it be? My second vintage figure. But I have all the vintage figures, don't I? No, of course not. We've got the second vintage figure that I've gotten in decades. It's going to come up on a quick show maybe Saturday. And then on Monday or Tuesday, we're going to do our next episode of Vintage Horror Night. And the meal is planned. We're going to do some filet mignon on the grill with a very single bachelor guy side. And we're going to drink some beer. And then we're going to watch a VHS tape. And I haven't even decided which one yet, but I'm narrowing it down. And we're going to continue having fun together. Hopefully I'll see you all Sunday on Back to the 80s. And until then, good night now.